Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
Tonight on News Hour, 12 Zamfara children in bandits' captivity released, 1 killed. People's Democratic Party presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar in court as tribunal adjourns case to May 18. Industrial Court to deliver judgment on ASU strike May 30th. And on the foreign scene, United Nations urges halt to Sudan conflict as fighting rumbles on despite talks. Hello and welcome to the News Hour on Trust TV. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for joining. And now the news in details. Beginning with security matters, armed bandits on Wednesday released the remaining 12 children they kidnapped from Wanzamai village in Safi local government area of Zamfara state. The remaining 12 victims were freed by the armed criminals after 500,000 naira was paid to them. They, however, shot dead one of the remaining captive. The armed men had earlier released 70 out of the 83 children they abducted from the community. They, however, killed 3 of the captives, according to a resident identified as Umar Hassan. The spokesman of the State Police Command, Chief Superintendent of Police Muhammad Shehu, is yet to confirm the incident. Daily Trust reporter in Zamfara State, Shehu Yari, gives an update.
About a month ago, 85 children were kidnapped from Wanzamai village in the local government area of Zamfara State. And most of the children were trapped when they went to the surrounding bushes to take firewood, while some of the adult victims were kidnapped when they went to their farmlands for land clearing in preparation for this courting season. Then the captives spent about 3 weeks in captivity. 70 of them were released after 6 million naira was paid to the armed criminals as ransom. At that time, that was about 10 years ago. And they killed 2 of the victims, and the remaining 13 captives were with them up to yesterday. That was one of them, and they released 12 of them and killed 1 of them also. 500,000 naira was paid as ransom for the release of the remaining 13 captives that have been with them. And despite the payments, 1 of them was killed and the 12 of them were released yesterday. In total, 6.5 million naira was paid to the armed criminals for the release of the 82 victims.
The Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal has adjourned continuation of pre-hearing in a petition filed by the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, to May 18th. Noel Samson reports that the presidential candidate was personally in court with other party chieftains.
The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar, accompanied by some of PDP chieftains, were in court to watch the pre-hearing proceedings. Counsel for the PDP candidate, Chris Uche SAN, told the court that the parties in the suit have harmonized their positions on constitutional and statutory issues and document to tender in the case.
As you could see, we've settled the issues, narrowed them down to very definite constitutional and statutory issues, which we need the court to determine. We've also dealt with the issue of reconciliation and streamlining of documents. The parties have agreed to work together and report back by Tuesday on the documents so that tendering of documents will be seamlessly done. Then thirdly, which comes to this issue of the motions, you could see that we served the other parties the motion for the televising of the proceedings. They explained here that they are still in the process of filing their replies. Therefore, we could not proceed without their input. So we don't want to anticipate their response. That's why the matter and this motion and other motions have all been adjourned to Thursday next week. Definitely on Thursday, every party would have filed his replies, and then this motion, this very critical motion, which they admit is very fundamental, the hearing will take place on Thursday, the 18th day of May, 2023.
Meanwhile, Council for the Allied People's Movement, APM, who is also challenging the election of Bola Tinubu, Oluwafemi Aweda, said the party is not withdrawing its position.
In the merit of our case, and we intend to follow through to the end. We do not have any link or any relation with other parties that have withdrawn, and we are saying this with affirmatively and with all seriousness and of course with all responsibility that we do not have any intention of withdrawing our petition.
Action Alliance AA and Action People's Party APP have withdrawn their petitions from the court. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Residents of Zamfara State want the incoming administration of Dauda Lawal to focus on addressing insecurity, poor standard of education and poverty within the first 1 year in office. The residents believe that restoring security will boost socio-economic activities and bring about sustainable development. The report.
Zamfara State's residents have high expectations from the incoming administration of Dauda Lawal, which will take over from the current administration of Governor Bello Matawalle on the 29th of May 2023. Some residents of the states like Suleiman Abubakar and Bilyamin Muhammad have rolled out challenges which they want Dauda Lawal's administration to overcome. They listed insecurity, unemployment, poor standard of education, and poverty, among others.
We have some of our people were chased from their town because of insecurity. Some were killed, some were raped, some were kidnapped, some spent more than 5-6 months in bandit captivity. So we want the state incoming government to focus on this main issue, that is security challenge.
The residents are of the opinion that if employment is tackled, it will go a long way to reduce crimes and criminalities. Therefore, they employ the incoming administration of Dauda Lawal to make concerted efforts to provide job opportunities for the teeming unemployed youths. Bilyamin Muhammad, who graduated in 2017 and has since completed his 1-year mandatory national youth service but has not found any job yet, is calling on Zamfara State Governor-elect to look into the plight of the unemployed youths in the state.
The state government to focus more on education and poverty alleviation and joblessness to the youth now. Let's say we have about 500,000 youths that are employed in the state. No job, and most of them are educated. Not to say they are not educated, they are educated, but they don't have jobs. The state government cannot offer jobs. I think the previous government is only does not employ people.
The incumbent state governor, Bello Matawalle, lost the 2023 governorship polls to the PDP candidate Dauda Lawal, who the residents now expect to proffer solutions to their problems.
Although Yakubu Fanami passed away on January 25, 2017, while attempting to stop a female suicide bomber from entering a mosque in Kaleri, Borno State, his memory lives on. His mother and close acquaintances share their experiences of Yakubu's life and how his brave actions impacted his community and how his memory continues to inspire hope and resilience in the face of adversity. The report.
Six years after, the pain of losing her only son, who died as a teenager, still lingers for his mother.
My son was a very good boy. One day, he was going to the mosque because he hardly prays in the house. On his way to pray, a congregational morning prayer, the blast engulfed him. I will continue remembering him and praying for him. When Yakubu, my son, was alive, he used to help me a lot even as a student.
Yakubu Fanami was a student in SS1 at Darussalam Islamic Academy in Maiduguri. His director speaks on Yakubu's character and academic performance during his time at the academy.
Late Yakubu Fanami was an average student actually, very jovial and friendly, and very punctual, and always at the forefront of sport activities in the school. He was like a normal child, a happy child.
Then the next day when we came, they told us that Yakubu was late. I was saying, what happened to that boy? They said that day he went around, even the nanny saw him that day moving with my son. So the next day it was very sad for us. That day we could not even teach very well. Students were crying and his face was just coming round. I was just remembering that, but it was a very sad incident, to be sincere.
I was just sleeping when they knocked our house. They said they are looking for Abdul Jabbar. I just came out. The first thing I saw, the first person was crying. That is in person of Abandos. He was crying. He told me that your friend is gone. I said, what? We just met yesterday. And he said he is not living in Fafaf. He is going to Kaleri, his grandmother's house. I said, what happened? He said, the last night's bomb. It was Yago. Then I started crying.
This is the mosque where the incident happened. These two men are witnesses.
Yakubu was one of our very first members that was in charge of maintaining this mosque. When the Boko Haram crisis was very high and the bomb blast was rampant, at exactly 4 a.m., our caller saw one lady close to the mosque and she was approaching the mosque as fast as she could, and she was behaving very strange. She was the one that carried the bomb, and Yakubu was the first to reach where she was, and the bomb exploded with him. He died at the process. That is how the whole people in the mosque started running sporadically. At that night, the bomber was wearing a red veil, and Malam Yakubu asked me to check the lady that was approaching. So while she was unable to speak, Yakubu tried to chase her. That was when she exploded the bomb. I got injured, but I survived the incident after spending 3 months in the hospital.
Yakubu Fanami represents the power of courage, selflessness, compassion, and the profound impact that one individual can have on a community and the world. For now, his mother has to rely on the positive attributes and qualities of her son as shared by members of his community.
The Supreme Court has on Thursday adjourned the hearing of the suit filed by Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, to September 14. Kanu had approached the court to appeal the verdict of the appeal court, stopping his release from the custody of the Department of State Services. On October 28, 2022, the Court of Appeal granted a stay of execution on his verdict, which discharged Kanu of terrorism charges filed against him by the federal government. During Thursday's proceedings, the Apex Court granted application of Abubakar Malami, the Attorney General of the Federation, to file additional processes in response to Kanu's motions. Kanu's lawyer, Mike Ezehume, told the Supreme Court that he is scared that his client might die in the custody of the Department of State Services. The Apex Court, however, adjourned the matter to September 14, saying that there is no space within its calendar to write and deliver the verdict within the 90-day deadline. Niger State Governor Abubakar Sani Bello has confirmed the killing of one of the commanders of the vigilantes by bandits in Mariga local government area of the state. Bello stated this when he received the Assistant Inspector General of Police Zone 7, Aliyu Garba, on a courtesy visit at the government house, Mina, the state capital. The governor said that the bandits invaded Kumbashi area in Mariga local government area of the state on Wednesday and engaged security personnel, adding that one of the commanders paid the supreme price with his life.
We cannot tolerate people in the capital city of Mina coming out with daggers and knives and cutlasses in a civilized world, intimidating people, macheting themselves. We must be aggressive. And I've told CP in the past that you must be aggressive. They are armed, and you must treat them as being armed. we cannot compromise the safety of our policemen or any security agents. So you have to do whatever within your means to protect and defend yourself, even if you go to extreme. This is the only way and the only language that will have peace in Minna. Unfortunately, because of the size of the state, we do not have enough boots on the ground.
As we all know, security is everybody's responsibility now. We cannot do it alone. We must synergize together with other security agencies and, of course, seek support from stakeholders, elder statesmen in the states, in order to push some of these lingering problems, logistically and others.
Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Al-Kali Baba, has urged the outgoing National Assembly to expedite action and pass the bills seeking the establishment of all police training institutions in the country by providing legal and operational framework for them. The IGP made the call during a stakeholders engagement organized by the Joint Senate and House of Representatives Committee on Police Affairs. The report.
There are approximately 29 police training institutions in Nigeria for training aspiring and existing officers on how to adequately carry out their responsibilities without violating the rights of those they're employed to protect. According to the Inspector General of Police, providing a legal and operational framework for these institutions will streamline police training to be in tandem with international best practices.
While humbly calling on the support of the distinguished members of these hallowed chambers for the expeditious passage of this bill, it is our strong belief that the passage of this bill will engender a new era of modernized training and retraining of personnel of the Nigeria Police Force and other agencies that will also greatly impact on our service delivery as we strive towards the attainment of our given mandate, and it will also assist other law enforcement agencies to be trained in these schools.
The Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, who was represented by the Deputy Chairman of the Committee on Appropriations, Iduma Igariwe, noted that if the legal framework is in place, it would help in better funding of the institutions.
We cannot overstate the importance of developing a legal framework for police institutions. The benefits are enormous. One is that it will make the institutions more relevant. It will also deepen the activities, and to summarize it, it will bring more funding both for the institutions and the police as a whole.
The chairman of the Senate Committee on Police Affairs, Haliru Jika, and his House counterpart, Usman Bello Kumo, in their separate remarks, pledged speedy passage of the bills before the Parliament winds down, adding that doing so will strengthen the training institutions.
But the need to strengthen and empower the Nigerian police cannot be overemphasized. Why? Because, as you see us today, which we're receiving the executive version of these bills, we already have private senators and members' bill that is similar to this. So that is why this is the beauty of the legislature. This is a bicameral legislature. The House of Representatives and the Senate are discharging the same function.
The bills currently before the Parliament are products of the Police Reforms Committee domiciled in the office of the Chief of Staff to the President. The reforms are an essential part of the operations of the police.
In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari has appointed a retiring Assistant Inspector General of Police, Garba Baba Umar, as a senior security advisor on the International Police Cooperation and Counter-Terrorism in the Office of the Minister of Police Affairs. According to the presidency, this is to enable Nigeria keep the important position and make way for him to complete his nationally beneficial tenure as an executive member of the International Police Organization, Interpol. Senior Special Assistant on Media to the President, Garba Shehu, noted in a statement that in approving his appointment, Buhari took note of a precedent in which a former executive member, AIG Kamal Subey, retired, was retained in service by the federal government of Nigeria after retirement in 2018. The president also took note of the fact that during his tenure as a member of the executive committee, AIG Umar assisted Nigeria in many ways, with the hope that in the remaining 1 year, he will do even more. Minister of Interior Rauf Aregbesola on Thursday said henceforth state governments are to provide feeding and accommodation to inmates in their states. Speaking at a 2-day high-level conference on decongestion and corrections management held in Abuja, he said the federal government will no longer bear such burdens. According to him, with the amendment of the 1999 Constitution, which has now placed the issue of correctional services on the concurrent list, states are empowered to establish their own correctional services and facilities. Aregbesola stated that states which do not have correctional facilities would have to pay the federal government for the feeding and accommodation of their inmates. Currently, the federal government spends over 22 billion naira to feed inmates across 244 correctional facilities in the country. The National Industrial Court of Nigeria has fixed May 30th for judgment in a suit instituted by the federal government challenging the 8-month strike of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. The presiding judge, Justice Benedict Kanyib, announced the date for the judgment on Thursday after the parties in the matter adopted their written counsel for ASU, Femi Falana, SAN, informed the court that they filed an appeal before the Court of Appeal challenging its ruling on March 18. Falana said that since they appealed the ruling, the court should stay action on the matter pending the determination of the appeal. However, Justice Kanyib told the lawyer that by Rule 47 of the court procedure, an appeal does not translate to stay of execution. Civil servants in Plateau State under the umbrella of the Joint National Public Service Negotiation Council on Thursday embarked on an indefinite strike over unpaid wages and alleged refusal of government to address their demands. According to the workers, the strike action took effect midnight of Wednesday, adding that the decision is meant to press the government to address their demands. Ado Musa reports.
The announcement of the strike action, which was contained in a letter addressed to the head of civil service in the state, Sandy Hayat, was signed by the chairman and secretary of the group, Titus Malau and Timothy Gopep. According to the group, the decision followed the expression of a 4-day extension to the earlier 7-day ultimatum given to the state government to address the demands of the workers in the letters dated 19 April 2023 and 3 May 2023. The group added that following the meeting of the 10th May 2023 with the head of civil service and the secretary to the state government in attendance, it was clear that government had not shown enough commitment to address the issues as presented in their charter of demands before its tenure expires as earlier presented.
Actually, we had issues with government right from last year. We had 3 months arrears of salaries, issue of the salary table. We also have issue of promotions, which we engaged them. There were some promises to ensure that these things are settled. Towards December, January, it shows some effort were made, but suddenly we discovered everything went back. As we speak to you, some people have not even received their February salaries. The tables are not ready, although they are being worked on. The issue of promotions, there are still some loopholes on the issue of promotions.
We have a lot of challenges. There are a series of things that they are trying to negotiate. They went through various negotiations with the state government, but it turned abortive. One of it, the salary of civil servant. Second, the third-party deduction, that is the cooperative funds that civil servants from their hard earning, they are just trying to put together to get something to help them. in situation like this, but that deduction have not been remitted.
Effort to get the reaction of the head of civil service in the state on the matter were not fruitful at the time of filing this report. However, the union assured the government that it is available for discussion even as the strike continues. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
The Nigerian Society of Engineers has declared an industrial action in the country over the killings and kidnapping of its members. The NSE said that the action became imperative in order to call the attention of the federal government to their plight, with a view to ensuring that the government becomes intentional about safeguarding the lives of its citizens. Musa Luka reports.
Over the years, the National Secretariat of the Nigerian Society of Engineers has been inundated with reports of abduction and vicious killings of our members from different parts of the country, especially in the southeast.
Addressing the press in Abuja on Thursday, the president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers NSE, Tasiu Saad, said the extent of development in any nation is determined by the value placed on technological experts like those in the NSE. The NSE condemns the killing, kidnapping and threats to the lives of its members, noting that the life of every engineer matters.
The extent of development or otherwise of any nation is conversely dependent on the degree of value placed on technological experts and manpower. The engineer changes the world by creating solutions for advancement. The engineers save lives and improve the quality of living by her innovative ideas and inventions. The slain engineers in the examples above were exactly on such patriotic, nation-building and economy-stimulating course when they were cut down.
Engineer Saad appealed to President Buhari to direct the Inspector General of Police to carry out special investigation on the attack targeted at their members.
We ask that he specifically direct the Inspector General of Police to carry out special investigation on the abduction and killing of Engineer Donatus Ude, MNSE in Enugu, and to also reopen the case of the 5 engineers of Nelan Engineering Consulting Limited, which happened in Ebonyi State in 2021. As President and Chairman in Council of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, and by the common will of all Nigerian engineers, initiate an industrial action to protest the insensitivity of government to the plight of Nigerian engineers and their families.
Saad noted that as engineers dedicated their lives to the development of the nation, the government's major responsibility should be the protection of lives and properties of citizens as enshrined in the Constitution. Musa Luka, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up shortly, we'll find out, has the National Youth Service Corps achieved its core mandate? Details and more after the break.
That's great.
Welcome back. This is the News Hour on Trust TV. Now let's take a look at the top stories again. 12 Zamfara children in bandits' captivity released, 1 killed. People's Democratic Party presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar in court as tribunal adjourns case to May 18. Moving on, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency has alerted residents of some northern states to prepare for heavy rainfall in the coming days. According to a release issued on Thursday, thunderstorm cells are currently observed over the northern parts of the country, including Borno, Taraba, Gombe, Bauchi, and Kano states. These are expected to propagate westward to give equally thunderstorm to some cities. The statement added that the current thunderstorm cells are expected to propagate easterly to give thunderstorms accompanied with squall to cities in Plateau, FCT, Nasarawa, Jigawa, Adamawa, Yobe, Borno, Bauchi, Gombe, Kaduna, Kano, and Katsina states. NIMET said for areas where thunderstorms are expected, strong winds are likely to precede the rains, and as such, trees, electric poles, unsecured objects, and weak buildings may be felled. And they advise the public to be cautious and stay indoor, especially during heavy rainfall, to avoid being struck by the lightning. The Independent National Electoral Commission says it will publish the personal particulars of the candidates in the 3 off-circle governorship elections in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi states scheduled for November 11, 2023. The electoral body made this known in a statement signed by its spokesman, Festus Okoye, on Thursday. He said the 18 political parties nominated candidates for the Kogi governorship election and 17 parties for Bayelsa and Imo states. Okoye also confirmed that all the political parties sponsoring candidates for the 3 elections have submitted the duly completed forms EC9 containing personal particulars supported by sworn affidavits, as well as EC9B containing the names of their candidates. The INEC National Commissioner said that as required by Section 29, Sub 3 of the Electoral Act 2022, the Commission shall publish the personal particulars of the candidates in the state headquarters and local government offices in the 3 states tomorrow, Friday, 12th of May, 2023. Ahead of the inauguration of the 10th National Assembly in June, aggrieved members of the All Progressives Congress on Thursday met with members of the party's National Working Committee at the national headquarters in Abuja. In attendance are Senators Abdulaziz Yari, Oji Kalu, Mohammed Musa, and Sadiq Umar. The APC chairman, Abdullahi Adamu, National Secretary, Iola Omisore, and National Women Leader, Betta Edu, were also present at the meeting. Addressing the NWC, Kalu, a Senate President aspirant, argued that the party should not zone the leadership of the yet-to-be-inaugurated National Assembly based on the number of votes each zone contributed to the victory of the president-elect, Bola Tinubu. Also, Yari, who presented the protest letter by the aggrieved senators-elect to the APC chairman, urged the party to review the zoning formula reviewed days ago for the purpose of justice and equity. In a similar vein, members-elect for the 10th National Assembly have been charged to raise the bar on legislative business as they prepare for inauguration in June. A cross-section of Benue residents who gave the charge believe that for any democracy to work, legislators must approach their lawmaking job with the seriousness it deserves. The report.
For the members of the National Assembly elect, it is a season of lobbying for the positions of leadership in both houses, while many battle with tribunal cases. But the electorates in Benue State are concerned with the legislative businesses as they state their expectations.
We are expecting that the 10th National Assembly should look at some of the key issues that Nigerians are willing to observe. There is a lot of poverty in the nation. They should target squarely on the welfare of Nigerians. Nigerian welfare is not taken into consideration. For the past, we need the 10th National Assembly to look at the welfare of Nigeria. Workers are dying. What are the issues that can make workers smile? The security is porous. What are the issues that can make the security moves on? The economy is drastically going down. What are the things that can make our economy bust? If they can situate this as lawmakers and exert influence on the executive, I feel that Nigeria will move to the greater height.
On issues that concerns Nigerians rather than self, they should make such laws that will empower institutions that will become more stronger to be able to deliver on their mandates, instead of individuals becoming more stronger than institutions, which I know is the major problem we're having in the country.
Legislate on issues such as insecurity. Give us laws that will protect the Nigerian man.
They called on the political parties to encourage ideological politics and hold those elected on their platforms accountable.
Honestly speaking, if leadership starts at this stage by a political party trying to venture into the legislative arms of governance, it means there is going to be a problem for the 10th National Assembly. So the APC as a political party should please, as a matter of urgency, deviate from legislative standard. They are not legislators. They are political parties. The National Working Committee should note that these people elected from the political party called APC are not now APC candidates. They are all for Nigerians. So if at all they venture into providing leadership, it means they have tampered with the development of the people.
The National Assembly, they said, can make or mar the country through legislation. Hence the need for the green and red chambers to be more focused on lawmaking and oversight functions on the government as well as the ministries, agencies and parastatals.
Now, the Nasarawa State Command of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps has arrested 2 suspects for allegedly committing armed robbery and rape in different parts of the state. Public Relations Officer of the command, Jerry Victor, made this known while parading the suspects at the command headquarters in Lafia. Abubakar Abdullahi sent in the report as presented from our studio.
Parading the suspect, Public Relations Officer of the Nasarawa State Command, Jerry Victor, said the armed robbery suspect, Isiaka Ibrahim, is a member of 4 syndicates terrorizing the state, especially around Karu local government area. He said Nemesis caught up with the suspects when the command succeeded in tracking a phone stolen by the syndicate along Maraba in Karu local government area. The NSCDC Public Relations Officer explained that the suspect, an indigent of Goza in Borno State, has confessed to committing different crimes and serving different jail terms in the country.
And of course, he has said everything that we need to know. And he has given us a lot of information that is helping the Corps to make sure that we get to the root of this matter. But as it is, we are handing him over to the Department of State Services for them to continue with the same investigation and possible prosecution.
The other suspect, Shagari Musa, was arrested by the NSCDC command for attempting to rape a 2-year-old girl in Nasarawa Egon local government area.
Always telling the general public to be wary of the environment they are in. It is uncalled for, especially for the case of rape. It is uncalled for this kind of thing to be happening in our society.
The PRO said the armed robbery suspect will be handed over to DSS for further investigation, while the rape suspect will be prosecuted before the court by the command. The command called on the public to always assist security agencies with information that would aid their job of fighting crime and criminality in the society.
It is 50 years since the creation of the National Youth Service Corps NYSC in May 1973. The scheme was introduced by the then Head of State, General Yakubu Gowon, to foster unity and national integration after the Civil War in 1967. In the spirit of NYSC's Golden Jubilee, Ibrahim Ismail meets former corps members who settled in Gombe State after the 1-year mandatory NYSC service. The report.
This is we that won State Honors Award.
Wow. Aderin Toba Bajide is a graduate of Arts and Communication from Yaba College of Technology, Lagos. He was deployed to Gombe for the National Youth Service Corps NYSC in 1999, just 3 years after the state was created. After completing his service, Babajide was offered an automatic employment by the Gombe State government in the Ministry of Information. For the past 24 years, the 50-year-old has been running art and photography business in Gombe, a place he calls home.
good to thank Gombe too, because they accommodate us, they treat us like their own, they show love, and the magnitude of appreciation, at least for staying back, is enormous.
Sharing his experience with Trust TV on the occasion of the NYSC's Golden Jubilee, the Lagos-born artist said the corps had changed his life for the better, stressing that it has been a driver for national integration.
And that's why you see that after the camp, many didn't grow from camp to be part of the society. But for some that listen attentively, you find out that integration is very easy. By and large, NYSC is a good scheme that needs to be maintained. At least for one thing, this unity, NYSC is promoting it better. Because I'm a Yoruba man, I marry an Igbo, staying in Hausa land. It's just a work of NYSC.
Just like Babajide, Bidia Yaro Dawakin Tofa is an ex-corps member from Kano State who was deployed to Gombe in 2017 for the national service. Since then, he has been working as a radio presenter.
I'm now working in Gombe, and this is all because of NYSC scheme. I'm opportune to be one of the NYSC members who immediately after their service, they got job, and recently, as you can see, my life has changed.
While reflecting on his service year in the NYSC 24 years ago, Babajide said there is indiscipline among the current corps members.
The corps doesn't see the NYSC staffs as their masters. It's not regimented any longer because the freedom is just too much. My only advice for the incoming corps members is be meek. It's not about your certificate. It's about what you got to offer.
For these two ex-corps members who found solace in the state after their service year, there is no better place to be than Gombe, a home away from home. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Gombe.
Time now to take a quick break. The news hour continues shortly.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening.
Now looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130.
Created a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Already, if you look at English squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Welcome back from that break. You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Time for us to take a look at business updates with Chiamaka Mwafo.
Nigeria has lost its status as Africa's largest oil producer to Angola, as Africa's largest economy saw its oil output decline the most in April among its peers in the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC. The latest monthly oil market released by OPEC on Thursday shows that Nigeria's oil output dipped by 270,000 barrels per day to 999,000 barrels per day in April from 1.26 million barrels per day in March, based on direct communication. The last time Angola overtook Nigeria was in May of 2022 when oil theft was rampant. Angola's oil production rose by 91,000 barrels per day to 1.06 million barrels per day in May, up from 978,000 barrels per day in March based on direct communication. The report noted that these figures are only from crude oil, not blended and unblended condensate, adding that the 1.2 million barrels per day produced in April is an addition of crude oil, blended condensates and unblended condensates during the period. The Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria, ARCON, has released vetting rates for all social media. Nigerians running social media adverts will now have to pay an extra cost for the vetting of the content by the Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria, ARCON. ARCON, which has earlier mandated social media influencers and bloggers, among others, to seek its approval before advertising any product or service online, has now released its rates for vetting such content. According to the advert regulator, normal vetting for any social media ad costs 7,500 naira, and this will take 7 days. To accelerate the process and get the approval in 2 days, ARCON said that it will cost 70,000 naira, while those who want their adverts to be vetted within 1 day will pay 100,000 naira. In a memo sent to all its regional directors, zonal directors and liaison heads, the council said the implementation of the social media rates took effect on May 9th, 2023. And finally, the Bank of England has raised interest rates from 4.25% to 4.5%, its highest level since October 2008. This is the 12th time in a row that the Central Bank of the United Kingdom has hiked interest rates. On Thursday, the bank's Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, voted by a majority of 7-2 to increase the base rate of interest by 0.25 percentage points to 4.5%. The central bank said UK inflation is too high at around 10% since summer 2022, but that is expected inflation to fall quickly this year to meet a 2% target by late 2024. The Bank of England said one of the main causes of inflation is Russia's invasion of Ukraine, which had led to a big rise in the price of gas and food basics such as wheat. The Bank of England said it no longer expects the United Kingdom economy to enter recession this year. And that's it on Business News. I am Chiamaka Mwafo.
Now to some more business stories. The President and Chairman, Board of Executive Directors, Islamic Development Bank, Dr. Muhammad Al-Jassa, says that the bank is charting the course of humanity globally. Jassa made the remark at the official opening press conference of the ongoing 2023 annual meetings holding in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. He He said that the lingering effects of the COVID-19 pandemic has been challenging in the previous year, and the uncertainty caused by the Eastern European crisis heightens the risk of debt unsustainability in many low-income countries.
رئيس مجلس محافظي البنك الإسلامي للتنمية السيدات والسادة.
During 2022, our operations focused on three key areas: boosting recovery, tackling poverty, and building resilience, and driving green economic growth. In addition, ISDB played a vital role in the high-level United Nations Crisis Response Group, formulating quietness and policies and mobilizing resources. We are more of humanitarians than just banking. Islamic Development Bank Group operations have predominantly supported the post-COVID-19 recovery during 2022, with $10.5 billion out of which aid provided $30 billion TCF, $68 billion ICD, $0.6 billion and $11.6 billion of business ensued by ICIEC. The bank is ready to respond to the needs of its member countries as we navigate the crisis together, building resilient and green economies.
On the foreign scene, the United Nations on Thursday urged countries with influence in Africa to help end the conflict in Sudan after reported progress in truce talks between the army and the rebel paramilitary Rapid Support Forces. Clashes rocked Halfaya, an entry point to the capital, early on Thursday as residents heard warplanes circling over Khartoum and its adjoining sister cities of Bahri and Omdurman. But the fighting appeared calmer than on Wednesday. In public, neither side has shown it is ready to offer concessions to end the conflict that erupted suddenly last month, threatening to pitch Sudan into a civil war, killing hundreds of people and triggering a humanitarian crisis. UN Sudan envoy Volker Turk said in Geneva that both sides had trampled on international humanitarian law and urged all states with influence in the region to encourage by all possible means the resolution of the crisis. Army General Yasser al-Attah was quoted on Thursday as saying that the talks should aim at removing the Rapid Support Forces from Khartoum, merging its fighters into the regular military and putting its leaders on trial. 9 pupils have been confirmed dead in Ghana's Greater Accra region on Wednesday after a boat transporting them to school capsized. The school children were said to be traveling from Fana to Kelly in the GA South municipality of the Greater Accra region. They were between the ages of 8 and 15. Bodies of the 8 of the kids found earlier were sent to the Kole Teaching Hospital morgue. The body of the 9th child was retrieved on Thursday morning after a desperate search by youth in the community. The municipal director of the National Disaster Management Organization, Christian Afedenyo, told local media that the 3 pupils survived the disaster. He said one boy among the pupils was operating the boat before the incident occurred. Let's now take a look at sports updates with Adeni Ajishafe.
The Nigerian wheelchair basketball team, NWBF, is in Accra for the 2023 International Wheelchair Basketball Federation IWBF African Para Games qualifier. The 2023 International Wheelchair Basketball Federation African Para Games qualifier is scheduled for 12th to 14th May in Accra, Ghana. The delegation comprised of 8 players and 4 officials led by the Secretary General of NWBF, Aliyu Muhammad. The Secretary appreciated the President for ensuring Nigeria attends the qualifier and boosting the chances of making a podium finish. The Nigerian wheelchair basketball team will face hosts Ghana, Gambia and Senegal. Meanwhile, the Nigerian wheelchair basketball women's team has secured automatic qualification. And in football, The 2022-2023 Nigeria Women Football League NWFL Premiership Super 6 now has a new date. The season-ending Super 6 will now hold from June 9 to 16, 2023 in Asaba, Delta State. NWFL Chief Operating Officers Mutukwe Shabi affirmed the new date for the Super 6 in a circular from the NWFL Secretariat sent to all participating clubs on Tuesday. Initially slated to kick off on Friday, May 5 and postponed indefinitely due to a clash with Wafu B Women's Cup. The Women League champions will now be crowned on June 16. Bayelsa Queens, Rivers Angels, Delta Queens, Edo Queens, FC Robo Queens and Conference Queens will battle it out for the league title at the Super 6 tournament. The champion representing Nigeria at the Wafu B Zona qualifiers for the 2023 CAF Women's Champions League, and if victorious, will represent the zone at the main tournament. Rivers Angels, Bayelsa Queens representing Nigeria at the first edition of Wafu B Zona qualifiers and qualify for the first two editions of CAF Women's Champions League in Egypt and Morocco, respectively. That's Sport News. I'm Adeniyi Ajishafe.
And with that, we wrap up the news hour for tonight. You can watch more via all our social media platforms and also on our YouTube live stream. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.